We're following the latest development in Israel right now as the country continues to battle Hamas militants from Gaza. Israeli officials say fighter jets hit more than 200 targets overnight. According to Israeli and Hamas officials, at least 2,100 people have been killed on both sides since Saturday's initial attack. Israel has mobilized over 300,000 reservists as it prepares for a potential ground offensive in Gaza. So for more analysis, I want to bring in William Wechsler. He's a senior director of the Rafik Hariri Center and Middle East programs at the Atlantic Council. He's also a former deputy assistant secretary of defense for special operations and combating terrorism. Thanks for joining us. We know that Israel called up, several hundreds of thousands of reservists, and though they haven't announced a ground invasion, it certainly looks very much like that. But when I look at the landscape in Gaza, the tightly packed neighborhoods, the rubble, it appears to me that a ground invasion will be very, very challenging. What would that look like?
Urban warfare is amongst the most difficult forms of warfare. It's going to be bloody and slow and door to door, and it's going to go on for a long time. What you're seeing now is the preparation of the environment, the taking down of the infrastructure that Hamas would use to defend against that kind of ground invasion.
So as the Israeli forces prepare for this potential ground invasion in Gaza, what are the things that they need to consider before going in? And the question, of course, remains, with so many civilians, as Anne-Marie pointed out, packed in some of these densely packed neighborhoods, and we know that Hamas makes it very difficult for innocents to get out of harm's way. What kinds of things do they need to be thinking about?
From a purely military perspective, Hamas lost this war the moment that they decided to start it. Israel is much more powerful than Hamas. But wars aren't won and lost purely on military factors. There are a number of other factors that are at the political level. Most important one is there going to be a second or even third front to this war? Can we keep Hezbollah out of it? Can we keep the West Bank quiet? These are the questions that Israeli leaders are asking themselves. And then the other most important question is the question that, frankly, we didn't really answer before we went into our war in Iraq in 2003, which is, tell me how this ends. What does Gaza look afterwards? How is it going to be governed? These are I came away from my last discussions when I was just in Jerusalem, happy to hear that the Israeli officials are starting to ask themselves those questions so that they can be better prepared.
I think that's such a good point, William. It's the question that I've been asking myself throughout this whole thing. What was the end game for Hamas? What did you think was going to happen? And also, what is the end game now? After the rockets are no longer being launched, what will we end up with in this area? And now we have another factor. We have both Lebanon and Syria launching rockets at Israel. Are there concerns that we could see this conflict, of course, spill over beyond the borders of Gaza, beyond the borders of Israel?
Absolutely. In fact, the only way for Hamas to achieve its strategic objectives is for the war to expand into a multi-front regional war. Israel knows that. The United States knows that. It's what Iran likely wants as well. That's why President Biden is sending the aircraft carrier strike group to help deter Hezbollah from taking the kinds of actions that would result in a more regional war. But it's very much a concern right now.
And so, Anne-Marie asked about the strategy and the objectives and strategic objectives for Hamas, but what are they for the state of Israel? I mean, the obvious ones to anybody who's not entrenched in this and is not as studious of this situation as you are is to decapitate Hamas and the leadership, to ensure that they don't have the capabilities to ever launch an attack like this again. So that on the surface seems to be what the primary objective would be. But then you're talking about a part of the Levant that Israel essentially ceded to Hamas in 2005. Would you see a reoccupation of Hamas under full Israeli leadership? In other words, a full-on annexation of Gaza? I mean, how would they know that they're done with whatever it is that they need to do?
Yeah, their military objectives are relatively clear, and as you said, it's more than just decapitation. It's a full network warfare against Hamas to remove their capabilities. They're not going to go. There's a consensus within Israel that they're not going to go back to the status quo ante. They're not going to go. They're not going to allow a Gaza that was dominated by Hamas to be the outcome of this war. After that, there is not consensus in Israel, as far as I can tell, about what the is. They're discussing it now. There are basically three options. One is an occupation, which I personally think would be a mistake. The other is to extend the remit of the Palestinian Authority back to Gaza, which was lost in 2007 when Hamas took it by force. Or the third is to find another leader that can either emerge from Gaza itself or be imported into Gaza. Those are the questions that are being discussed right now.
All of those options are not appealing.
No, I was thinking none of them sound particularly strong.
Right.
You know, they all have sort of challenges moving forward. You were about to say something, William.
Yeah, they're all very difficult. There's all a lot of negatives associated with each one of them. If there was easy answers here, we would have seen these easy answers decades ago. You're choosing between the best of the worst options at this point.
William Wechsler, it's a complicated situation. It has been for some 75 years. Hopefully, as everybody is hoping and praying for, a peaceful solution ultimately when Israel has achieved its objectives. But who knows if that's coming? I mean, I did ask John Kirby this very question. I mean, what is the United States prepared to do once Israel has met its objectives to achieve lasting peace in the region? And there are no easy answers to that. William Wechsler, we appreciate you as always. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.